Hi, Tara. Thank you so much for joining me for a second time for this interview. I really appreciate you. Where are you?
Absolutely. You can ask me to talk every day and I'll be here for you. Totally fine.
All right. Awesome. I might have you do all of my Facebook Lives. Okay. So where are you joining us from today?
So hi, everyone. I live near Allentown, Pennsylvania. Most people only know this area if you're a Billy Joel fan. He made a song a very long time ago about Allentown. So you can go Google that. Usually people under like 40 don't know what I'm talking about, but that's where I live, Eastern PA, about an hour from Philly and about an hour from New York City.
All right. Well, oh, would you mind muting Elizabeth, please? Awesome. Thank you. All right. And so Tara is going to talk to us about essential oils today. She is a young living specialist. I forget what the proper title was. I had it written down when I previously had my list of questions, but
that's okay. You can say young living peep, young living lady, all respectable, young living independent distributor, young living sharer of all things.
All right. And you definitely are a sharer of all information about essential oils. So before we get started talking about essential oils, I'd just like to give a little quick summary about what the 3 Ds are: dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia. So dyslexia is difficulty with words. That can be difficulty with reading, with spelling, even with saying words. Sometimes people with dyslexia can't think of what they want to say, and the words come to them later. So words are the dyslexia struggle, and dyscalculia is difficulty with calculating, with math. So people with dyscalculia often have difficulty figuring out math problems, multiplication, fractions, division, algebra. And very often math can be like a foreign language to someone with dyscalculia. And then dysgraphia is, graph means to write. So dysgraphia is difficulty with writing. And so very often it's people who their handwriting's really sloppy or their letter sizes are different. But it also can be difficulty getting your thoughts from your brain onto the paper. And that kind of dysgraphia is really hard to resolve. But the handwriting issues usually are easier to work through. And so people with these learning differences, it's just different parts of the brain are being used. And we can light up the parts of the brain that are not currently naturally activated through tutoring or through different types of activities or exercises in order to improve with that person. You can never get rid of dyslexia, dysgraphia, or dyscalculia. You just learn to work with it and improve. And a very large number of people with one of those DISs also has ADD and ADHD. So what I asked you to talk about today is helping with focus and concentration, because if you have ADD or ADHD, focus and concentration can be a really challenging thing. And so oils can be very helpful in that area. And when I had a location, I used to have my oils diffusing. I had vetiver, did I say that right? I had that diffusing in the room with a couple of other oils that I can't remember. But we always had it going in when we were meeting in person. So anyway, with no further ado, I am happy to welcome Tara Marks to the floor. So Tara, tell us about um, a little bit about essential oils, how you got started working with them.
Yeah, so I personally, in my own life, I was honestly just looking for a solution. This has really nothing to do with what we're talking about specifically with the disses, but for my own personal use and just getting rid of synthetic scents in my home, which I didn't really know that's what I was trying to do, but I just knew that my plugins, my sprays, all of those synthetic things, candles, really made me sick. They gave me headaches. They made me nauseous. And I knew I was probably doing something that wasn't great for my body. Because I love the smell, I did it anyway. And when I saw a friend on social media, this was over 6 years ago, saying they were, diffusing these natural essential oils that, they don't have like any side effects and they don't make you sick, it piqued my interest. It was really when I had brought them into my home. I was working retail at the time. I was working so many hours. It was during the holidays. I didn't really get too involved and too invested yet. Even though I had gotten like a diffuser and like a bunch of oils that come in a specific collection kit, whatever you want to call it, I was just kind of diffusing here and there, and I was enjoying the smells. And it was when I really started seeing specific results with them myself and with members of my family. That's when I really dove in and wanted to know everything there was to know about essential oils. I was already naturally sharing with friends and family the results, I was seeing and what they could possibly do. Even if I hadn't experienced it yet, I would tell them what I read about, what I heard about. And it just happened naturally. I just couldn't shut up about it. I think they're one of the most amazing natural substances on the earth that we can use to support our bodies in so many different ways. And through that process, as I've learned so much about them, I have learned how they can support so many different systems, but in a really big way, they can help with, relieving stress, bringing down that anxiety level, and just helping with like focus and clarity with some of the things that we're talking about tonight.
Awesome. And it's definitely relative, because I believe that when you take care of your body through your oils or through your food, it makes a difference on your ability to learn. So it's definitely relevant. So talk to us about how oils can help with focus and concentration.
So there are 3 basic ways to use essential oils in general. So I have a diffuser, that's an essential oil diffuser back there, that's actually putting a specific essential oil into the air right now. It's a specific blend. This one is called Valor. It's proprietary to Young Living. Valor is great for stress relief, but it's also good to like help clarify those thoughts. A lot of times, if we're overstressed or anxious, that's not helping us get clarity of thought. And I know that a lot of us in here understand and know that. So aromatically is one way. You can use one of those diffusers, or you can even take the essential oil bottle. And if you just sniff it, you get the benefits. You get it just by breathing it in. Another way to use the essential oils is to take the essential oils and you can actually like drop it topically onto your skin. If you're brand new to using essential oils, you don't have a lot of experience with them yet, you're still learning, I recommend using a carrier oil in addition to that actual essential oil, because they're very potent and they're very pure. It takes a lot of either like fruit or flower product or pine needles. Like it takes a lot of plant material to get this little teeny tiny bottle of essential oil. And I'll give an example before I move on to the 3rd basic way to use essential oils. So might be hard to see with my light on me here, but this is a 5 milliliter bottle of lemon essential oil. It looks kind of tiny. Most people look at it and go, how much can you really do with this little bottle? It has about 75 drops in the bottle. Most instances you're using like a drop or 2, maybe a couple more drops in your diffuser, but it takes 25 actual lemons to make this bottle of lemon oil. So that just gives you an idea of how concentrated it is. And that is why you do want to use a carrier oil with it. When I say carrier oil, you can go to Amazon. Young Living sells carrier oils, but carrier oils could be something as simple as things that are found in your kitchen: olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, vegetable oil. There's a lot of other examples, but those are some easy ones. So the third way to use them, we talked about aromatically, we talked about topically. The third way that your body can get benefits from essential oils is actually taking them internally and using them internally, whether you're adding them to food or drink. You can even add it to, this is a bottle of like empty vegetable capsules. You can put them in those. You can put them directly underneath your tongue to get into the bloodstream very quickly. And there's even supplements, and part of the giveaway we're doing tonight, I'm giving away a couple samples of this. This is a kid specific supplement, but I use it for myself. It's still adult safe, even though it's formulated for kids. Inside supplements. So those are the three basic ways. So aromatically, topically, or internally, any of those three ways, your body will get the benefits.
And I want to stop you for a second and just tell people that if you are taking it internally, you want to make sure that it is a very pure essential oil. You do not want to take the ones that you buy on the store shelves internally. There are a few companies like Young Living that are high enough grade to do that, but
yeah,
definitely not the ones at Walmart or at TJ Maxx or.
And it can be a little confusing because anywhere you grab an essential oil bottle, and I mean, they're in any store I walk into. I see them at Hobby Lobby, like you said, TJ Maxx. I mean, they are everywhere, and I love that everybody is learning more about them. Hi. And that we're understanding the benefits. And here's the confusing part: is any bottle you pick up, whether it's Young Living or whether it's Dollar Tree, no knock to Dollar Tree. I love Dollar Tree for some things, but just don't get my essential oils there. Is any bottle you pick up will say 100% pure therapeutic grade. So that's the confusing part. You see that label and you think that it's safe. Unfortunately, FDA says only 5% of what's in that bottle needs to be essential oil, even though it reads 100% pure essential oil. So that's where the confusing part comes in. And I love to help people understand a little bit better what constitutes a quality essential oil. And I know that with Young Living, and I can go into further detail with anyone that wants to learn a little bit more, but I understand it's a very transparent company for so many reasons. One of them being they own their own farms. They do all of their own distillation. They don't use any chemicals, pesticides, anything like that. So we know it's a safe product and we're not adding any extra icky stuff to it.
So tell us what should we do for concentration and focus?
Yeah, so we talked about the three basic ways to use essential oils. So you could get very basic and simple with it. You can take essential oils if it's a kid that needs help with concentration during the school day. Maybe they are doing virtual school at home and maybe there's not a very specifically defined space where it's 100% distraction free and quiet. So they need a little extra help. You know, if it's a younger child and they have that little stuffed animal that they, hug on and love while they're doing virtual school, you can actually take a couple drops of that essential oil and put it right on the stuffed animal. That stuffy can be a diffuser in itself. So another way you could do it is, again, putting it on the child topically. And again, with children, it is definitely safe and super effective. I've been using them on my daughter since she was 2.5. She is almost 9 years old now. And we just started out by diluting more heavily and got really comfortable with it. And there are many that she actually uses straight with no dilution now because we understand what essential oils work really good with her body. And I make sure she's well versed in it as well. So some really good examples of what essential oils would be great to use for focus, concentration. And Nan, thank you for that. Before we started recording this interview, Nan was saying that she heard that rosemary is really great for memory and concentration. So rosemary is definitely a great essential oil that is good for that. Rosemary does come, and I didn't really explain this, but Young Living has essential oils that are labeled specifically for topical and aromatic use. And they have their Vitality line that have labels that all look similar to this that are actually labeled for internal use. And there is actually a Rosemary Vitality. We all commonly know rosemary as an herb that we use in cooking, and there's benefits from it that way as well. But in the essential oil, because it's so concentrated, that's where you're going to get the most benefits, opposed to throwing it, you know, in your meatloaf or on your roasted chicken or something. So rosemary is one that it would be very intense if you put that directly under your tongue, that Rosemary Vitality. I don't recommend that. Rosemary, I think, is one that would be great topically per se. So rosemary is a good one for that. Orange essential oil is known very well for focus and concentration as well. And also any essential oils that you just may read about, and I can give you some examples as well that either you read about or you hear about, you know, from friends or any classes you may take where they talk about it, and you know, hear about some specific essential oils or essential oil blends. Any ones that are good for stress relief or relieving anxiety will actually be good for focus and concentration too. So I think sometimes we get pigeonholed as humans thinking, okay, let me give a good example because a lot of people know this. Where is my peppermint? Oh, I don't have my peppermint. We'll pretend this is peppermint. So let's say this was peppermint essential oil. People hear a lot of things about peppermint being great for headaches and taking headaches away. Peppermint is good for like 20 other things. So don't get pigeonholed into thinking that you only know that one use of that essential oil, and that's exactly what it's good for. It can help with so many different things. So peppermint is great, is another great one for concentration and focus. It's great for energy as well. Some people that are very stressed out, peppermint is great for them as well. So, you know, they're multifunctional and they're very intuitive. So they kind of support your body in a way that you may not even fully understand what it's doing, but it's going to go in and it's going to help your body with whatever it needs. So, and like I said, if you hear from friends, you've heard some other great ones are great for stress relief. That is so amazing as well. You had mentioned vetiver or vetiver. I hear it pronounced so many different ways. And you talked about how you use that to diffuse it, Jess, in, your in-person centers, when you were going in person before. For me, vetiver is my most calming oil ever. If I'm at a high stress point, that oil will bring me back down and like erase those anxious thoughts. So vetiver is a really great one that Young Living distills. Their stress away blend, their peace and calming blend. Valor, I talked about how I'm diffusing Valor right now. That's an amazing blend for that focus, concentration, stress. It's all kind of, intermingled a little bit. And I was talking about before, if you have a kid that's in an environment that's a little distracting, that can be stressful. So those stress relieving oils can come into play as well.
For one of my students who had really severe ADHD, like literally bouncing off the chair, I made him a little jar with a cotton ball and put a couple of different oils on that for him. And I'd have him sniff it during tutoring. And he took it home with him and then he'd bring it back for tutoring. And so, he enjoyed it as well. So they also like the steam of the diffuser. They like to stand over it and just have it hit their face. So it's not something like taking a pill or having to eat some gross peas or something like that for the kids. So they're really more willing to help their bodies through the oils.
And I think that's a great point. You were talking about how they were engaged with it. They're like, oh, the mist is coming out, and they are cold air. So never want to heat or put essential oils to temperature, if you overheat them or like put your bottles on a windowsill, that'll actually destroy the therapeutic properties of them. But point being, it is very smart to get the kids engaged with the oils. When I have a parent that's looking to help their kids be more focused, they're having challenges in school for whatever the reason, maybe they've been diagnosed, maybe they haven't yet. I tell them, I don't care if you have 10 oils in front of them and you think that they need peace and calming. If they pick frankincense, let them pick frankincense. If they pick citrus fresh, that's the oil they need. As long as they're engaged and you're letting them pick and they are taking ownership of it, that's a great way to help them understand that it's something that's good for them and they're in control of the situation. Because like I said, the oils are intuitive. There's I don't want to say never, but I want to say there's almost never a wrong choice. Like most times, if you just kind of pick oils and as long as you're using them, you're going to get benefits. Young Living even has a really fabulous kid-specific diffuser, which some adults like. And I like it because it's actually very simple for the kids to fill. Like my diffuser here, it's kind of hard to see with the light on, honestly, but it has like an outer decorative lid. And then there's an inner lid inside. So I have, that lid, and then we take off this lid. And sometimes it could be a tiny bit cumbersome, I guess, but the kids diffuser is very user-friendly, very kid-friendly. So as kids are learning more and you feel more comfortable with letting them fill it and pick their oils, let them. When my daughter was younger, she doesn't do it so much anymore. She did the little putting the essential oils on the stuffed animal. We did it for her to go to sleep at night. Guess what?
Wow.
When she's hugging that teddy bear tight all night, she's breathing in the oils, the aroma and the benefits of the oils, like they stay on that fabric. When we put essential oils on our skin or we're using them internally, our body actually uses it very quickly and excretes it very quickly. So again, anything to get them interested, engaged. That the glass, you talked about the jar of cotton balls. Cotton balls are a great way to extend the life, and you probably don't even need to refill it with more essential oils very often when you do it that way, to be honest. It does last a long time that way.
Well, I think that's amazing what you were saying about having them like sleep with it and snuggle up with their stuff. Like that never occurred to me. We've put it on the pillows, but I've been using essential oils. Well, I've probably been using them close to 20 years, but about 10 years, like I've had a really large collection, and they last a long time. So, there might be an initial investment that you lay out, but unlike medication, it lasts for years and years if you put it in a dark place. I keep mine in a dark box. And so, it's definitely a good investment because like you said, you first started using it because you didn't want any harmful chemicals. And so
it seemed like a very expensive air freshener in the moment. I didn't know all of the benefits. I didn't have, I have many books now in my collection that, my essential oil desk reference, my essential oil pocket reference, and my essential oils for ladies' hormones, and so many different books now where I can learn and read about all of the benefits. And I'm still learning every day. Back then, I really didn't have a full understanding of how they could support the body, how they could help me with breakouts on my skin, how they can get my 2-year-old to go to sleep, even though she's all wound up. And just how you're talking about before, you had mentioned earlier about, food and things and how all of that can affect our bodies as well. I think essential oils are just another great keystone and piece of the puzzle to add to all of the different things that we are using to support our bodies already. I mean, if we no knock to McDonald's, but if we're eating McDonald's for breakfast and dinner every day, and then we're going to the gym for 90 minutes every day, and the body looks the same and it's not moving, well, you got to do a couple other pieces to kind of get everything moving in a positive manner as well. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Tara, so much for sharing with us. And I want to leave time for people to ask questions. But before we stop this part, can you share what would be the best way for people to connect with you?
Oh yeah. So my name is Tara Marks. It is on a screen there. And I know we talked about in the beginning. So I'm very easy to find on social media. Facebook is the easiest way to get a hold of me, my most used social media platform. On other platforms, I'm known as Naturally Made Mom, spelled as is, no unique or funny spellings. So on Instagram and TikTok as well. I do like that new social media too. And I think it's a very, I know TikTok was a lot of dancing and funny stuff in the beginning, but I'm finding a lot of actually like educational resources, and it's a new way to connect with people to learn new things as well. And I do have a website as well. Pretty simple. It's www.unlockyourhealth.com.
Awesome.